30th today. We started chopping hay. So yesterday Dad cut this field. It's pretty big hay field. It's like, I think it's 55 acres. One of our bigger fields. Makes some nice hay. We got a pivot on it, or a half swing pivot that covers our neighbor's field over there also. We had some pretty nice hay. We usually we rake it to put 2 rows together, but we just didn't have the time to do it. It's so hot and dry, we just needed to get going on it, so we're just chopping a single row at a time. But it's pretty good stuff, so it's filling up the boxes pretty quick. So I'll show you how we run this chopper. I didn't really show it very good and we made that right because I was still trying to remember. But so here is your I don't even know what you call it, all your knives and your blower. Turn that on, it fires up. Hit this button on your handle twice. That starts your head, or the head. Hit this rabbit button twice. That puts it to full throttle. That's where we chop at. I gotta lower the spout a bit because I had it up higher. Push this 3 button, puts the head down to where it needs to be. And we're chopping. She is dry. She's blowing all over. What do you do though? So a little bit about our chopper. It is a John Deere, obviously. It's a 7780. And it's about, I think it's like 640 horse. And it is overkill for us, big time. We've had it now, this is our 3rd year with it. And at the time before this we had a pull type. It was a New Holland. And then we did have an old John Deere self-propelled that we basically just had a corn head with it. We just used it to open up fields. Then we upgraded to this here a few years now, and at the time we weren't really sure what we were looking at or what we needed, how big we needed. And once we kind of figured out how big we needed and how much we wanted to spend on it, this was just kind of the best option out there. Could have got smaller ones, but there wasn't much availability and they had a ton of hours on it. This is, I don't know, from my understanding it was a newer chopper that had low hours on it. And it's kind of, I don't know, from what we were told, so many cutter head hours, that's when you start having issues, and this was below that mark. And we don't push it real hard because we can't keep up with the boxes anyways. We figured this machine should last for us. When we went to go look at it, we had a neighbor that had a chopper for years and really knows mechanics and stuff. He came to look at it with us and he was very impressed with the machine. So we ended up getting it. So far it's been a pretty reliable machine. We've had a couple issues. That one, we had a hydraulic pump went out. We replaced that. This door wants to pop open every once in a while. But the maintenance on it, we took it in this last winter. It's just kind of a recommendation to have it into the shop, have the guys that know what they're looking for go through it. There's so many moving parts and wires and hoses that we're a lot more confident having them go through it. See what needs to get done. It's expensive, but you know, it's gonna get done right anyways, hopefully. So yeah, as you can tell, we pull behind yet. We don't got the bodies or the equipment to pull alongside. That's what majority of people do. I think they have these bigger choppers, they got trucks or other people and tractors alongside, put the spout weight up in the air and drive along and fill her up. But this pulling behind works plenty fine. And we've put all of our hay in the bags yet. We don't do piles or nothing, so we can't really keep up the greatest. So I'm always looking back, kind of moving the spout back and forth. It's so windy and the hay's getting dry. It wants to blow so bad, so you kind of aim it to one side of the box so leaves kind of blow in a little better. When you go the other way, you turn around and just kind of move it back and forth all the time just to fill up the box a little better. Guy gets a sore neck though looking back. I should learn to use the mirrors better, but I can't see that great out of. So I gotta go over here. You can maybe hear me, but the Vega tractor, no one sits in there. That stays in neutral the whole time it's running. Because Bager just creeps it along. And once it gets filled up, it builds up enough pressure. It pushes the Bager and pushes the tractor. This is the first load we're putting into the second bag here. Ah, it's dusty. See on the bottom, it's starting to fill up. It comes out there, goes up the apron, goes up top, gets pushed into here. Usually on the first load, I like to walk around it. Make sure that the other folds on the bag don't get pulled out. At the top fold is the one that gets pulled out, otherwise you have a big mess. Luckily we haven't had that happen very often. Everything's looking good. Knots holding up. I'm going back in the cab already, it's so dusty and windy. Back at it again. I'm hauling today. Eric's chopping for us. Dad's over here cutting. Now he's up on top of the hill right now. You can't see it, but nice hay this first crop. Really filling up the bag in a hurry. And now we got everything chopped today that we had cut yesterday. We didn't cut as much as we probably should have. There was a chance of rain. We just had a lot to chop. So Dad just cut this field this morning, about that was probably 10 o'clock. We planned on raking it up today and hopefully chopping it here tonight. With the high heat, high winds, sun out all day, it's drying fast. So we're raking it up now and it should be ready to chop here by the time I get done almost. So we have a New Holland rotary rake. It's got two rakes on that spin. They scoop the hay up, kind of flip her to the middle, tip her over. So this is actually kind of just a perfect hay day. We just cut it whatever 6 hours ago, and as the hay dries, that's when the leaves want to fall off. But this stuff, since it was just cut, the leaves are sticking to it well. When we're raking it, we're not losing a lot of leaves, and it should make some really nice feed. They call this hay in a day. That's why we bought this rake a few years ago. This is how we wanted to try chopping a bunch of our hay. A lot of times it works, sometimes you just don't get a good drying day, it's cloudy or something, but today is an ideal day to do it. Supposedly as that hay sits out overnight, typically you cut it the one day, you chop it the next. If you can do it in the same day, supposedly you lose less sugars that are in the stems and the leaves of the hay. I don't know if I've really noticed a huge difference, but I mean, any little bit helps, I guess. Usually on the headlands here, I gotta go a little slower. The headlands get cut first, that's the outside rounds. So as you cut the inside rows, you drive over this hay with the tractor, this spine, it gets kind of packed down. So you go a little slower, give those rakes a chance to go over it one or two more times. This gets less hay stuck to the ground, does a better job. goes Dennis. I got Kaylee taking over raking for me. I'm gonna go home and get some other stuff done. Kaylee just graduated high school here last week. She's going to Ridgewater College in Wilmer. That's actually where I went to school for dairy management. I'm not exactly sure what. She's going for some sort of agriculture. I forgot what she said. She'll be in the egg program, just like I was. So she wants to farm. So I figure, yeah, we'll put her to work this summer then. Learn to drive tractor a bit, kind of get understanding how to make hay. She does have horses, so she needs to learn how to make a lot of hay. So we are still chopping hay here today. We got one busy day left. We got there's probably a little over 40 some acres to do. We got one of our fields, and we're making a field from a neighbor. He's selling his cows here this year. He had a hay field he doesn't need to make, so we're gonna cut that and chop it. Well, actually Dad cut it yesterday. We're gonna chop that here once we get a new bag on. This one, we filled this one up yesterday. Really yielding well this first crop here. So we actually got two bags made. Gotta seal this one up, yep, but getting some cow chow made. This first crop of hay has been really nice, but we need a shot of rain here pretty bad. She's getting dry. There was a chance to rain every day this week, and we didn't get a lick, which might be a blessing in disguise that we're actually able to get all this hay made. And hopefully, as soon as we get done today, hopefully it pours and get that hay going again, get the corn really shooting up. Corn really looks good for how dry it's been, but it could use a good soaking here real soon. So we showed you how we put the bags on. Now how we take them off, kind of same thing. The biggest deal is we gotta get these cables rolled back up, because they're tight to that backstop on the end of the bag. And those cables are controlled with this pump here. That's what keeps them tight. So you gotta loosen this up. Oh, you dirty dog. I need two hands. See, there's some slack in it now. See, that pump is what puts pressure on these brakes. So now they're loose. Well, they're not loose yet, but they're fairly loose. When they're new, they open up all the way and they make it totally loose, but over time they like to get sticky. So I gotta pry on that brake to loosen it up more. And there's two brakes on each side. Get that loose. Now I can actually, you just push it down, and I gotta do the other side to let it go more, but them loose. A little more slack in it. Get them loose so you can unclip the backstop on the end. Pull that out with the bobcat, and then you flip a little lever on the bagger here, and that'll run this motor, and it reels that up kind of like a fishing rod. Oh, come on. Alright, that's unhooked, so now I can roll them up. Alright, I got that out here. These cables roll up, but that one side wants to jump on us all the time, so he's got to put pressure on it to keep it from sliding over too much. There she tried running. Alright. Struggling with her a little bit today. Oh, she's going good. That side always rolls up good for some reason. That side don't. He's gonna stop and tell me when to stop it here. Alright, they're up. He's gonna flip that lever so that it runs the drum or the rotor, kind of cleans it out. I'll pull ahead a bit. And I gotta back her up to the new bag's gonna start. Dad's gonna grab another bag to throw on. We'll set her up and start chopping right away.
Alright, so we are heading down to the bags. They are chopping hay today and they need to switch to a new bagger, or to a new bag. Randy is helping me with kids. You guys wanna say hey? Hey! We were working on rhubarb actually, and then Travis called and they are chopping quite a ways away out on that other farm property that we have, and they came back to change out the bag and then they'll head back out there. Trav said this crop is like actually really good, the best it's been in years, so it filled up a lot quicker than they planned, which is a good problem to have. The neighbor is here hauling boxes, Travis is chopping, and Steve is unloading. Alright, so that's the full bag. You can see it's kind of gushing out the end. They'll take some of that and feed it, and then they'll put sand and tires on the end to keep it sealed. And then they're going to go hook up the new bagger down here. Travis is backing up the tractor, and then the bag comes in huge boxes that we buy them from the creamery. So they pick them up and carry them down here with the pallet forks. And then they got to get it all set up. We'll show you kind of what that looks like. It's not hard, but it's kind of tedious. It's a two-person job. You really can't do it yourself. Brought you a cheering squad. Hey. You guys gonna help? Yeah. You're gonna help? That is an awful sound. Okay, so explain this to me. Are there different brands of bags?
Bags?
So pretty much everybody uses up north?
Yes, there is one other. I don't know what
These just have always worked for you? Are there different size bags, or are they all the same size?
Yeah, there's one different sizes.
8, 9, 10, 12 footers.
What is ours?
9.
Why did you guys decide on 9-footers?
Mostly because of the amount of feed you use a day. You don't want to get bags and spoil them.
So bigger farmers would use bigger bags?
Yep.
like really bad nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah, we can't hear.
How many bags do we fill a year?
8, 7.
For the year?
Okay, yeah.
There's no other way you guys would rather spend bonding, huh? It's as good as it gets.
A couple times.
Dad, where are you going?
Oh, yeah, take the step off.
What you doing? Drinking a Zevia. How about you? Watching? How about you?
Bring tools for that.
What?
Bring tools for that.
You brought tools for them in case they need them? Whole toolbox? That was a really good idea. Thought you don't like heights.
This ain't too bad.
So I imagine this part is really important.
Yep.
Is there like a method to doing this to make sure all the air is sealed off?
No, it's not there. You don't want to miss any of the edge.
So how long will this bag last you? Any idea how many loads?
Oh, each bag lasts about 2 months.
Do you guys use that tractor hooked up to the bigger every single year?
Pretty much.
Now what?
Back stuff.
That's pretty light. You can just lift it up, huh?
Mommy, grab the other side. Mom, grab that side. Grab that other side.
So what are you doing? Oh. Is that learned from experience?
I don't know, I've always, just kind of always done it. At one point in time.
What happens if a hole gets poked in the bag and you don't catch it right away?
Well, the feed could get rotten because it gets air in it because these are airtight. It happens like right away. There's so much pressure on it, it'll keep ripping it.
And the cattle would get sick?
If it gets moldy.
What?
If it gets moldy, they could get sick. So this is a gauge. These are pounds that are on the brakes, that are on the drums. start. Then once we get a big one load in, then we crank her up to about 1,000. So that puts pressure. On these brakes, basically it's like car brakes on this wheel. And that's why as the feet pushes, that's how you keep pressure on the bag, keep it tight. Once it hits that center mode, it starts creeping forward and lets out cable. So it works.
Use the tools.
I don't need no tools, we're not broke down right now.
Should we head home, guys?
Yeah.
You're not gonna be home early tonight, are you?
See you later.
Why did you do that?
Heading to unload the first box in his new bag. All right, so it's Thursday. We are first crop hay. Got 2 bags full and they're working on the 3rd. Travis is chopping and Steve is unloading boxes. Sailor, I mean, she's ridden in tractors and equipment with Trav and I before, but Grandpa Steve will always grab a big kid and go. But tonight he stopped in and he took Sailor out of my baby carrier, and then they went to get a box, and they came back and I walked out to the tractor to get her, and he just honked at me and had a big smile on his face and he kept going. So I was gonna walk down here and see what she's doing. She's strapped into the seat in a seatbelt. I thought she'd maybe want to come home with me and she'd have enough of it, but turns out she's really not done yet. She's kind of enjoying it. She's just in there playing with Grandpa and unloading a box of hay. So we'll see if when they go back this next round if she wants to come home yet or not. But this is, I mean, last year she was born in July, so this is really her first time she's ever been out making hay before. Our corn is starting to come up in the test plot. It's popping up. But we could really use some rain for the rest of it. It is very dry around here.